San Antonio has waited months to exact revenge, while RGV has waited nearly a year to open its new state-of-the-art stadium. The South Texas Derby is coming up next. From Edinburgh, Texas, finally fans filing into HEB Park, and for San Antonio into enemy territory where their season ended a year ago. The 2017 USL regular season week 1 concludes with Rio Grande Valley and San Antonio. Hello everybody, Mike Watson, Morgan Conklin with you. HEB Park, brand new place, but these are pretty familiar rivals.
An absolutely beautiful new stadium, a strong rivalry between these two teams, and a rematch that ended San Antonio's season last year. What a great way to end the USL opening weekend.
Storylines abound. When you take a look at San Antonio, a brand new defense except for outside back. They bring back Greg Cochran.
Yes, he'll be the leader of this back line. It'll be a little different having a leader on the outside position, but he led the team, was second on the team in assists last year. But as you said, he's the only returning player on this back line. So look to him to get forward and create a lot of the attack.
And he's going to have his hands full. He's got Jose Escalante on the wing, but he's got a striker in Ruben Luna, who he's going to have to help control. He led the way in scoring for the Toros last year.
And the scary part is he's playing some of his best soccer right about now. So look for him again to be the main goal scorer for his team this season.
Terrific numbers after being signed mid-season last year. Let's take a look at the lineups. We begin with a San Antonio team that will have 6 different players make their debut here tonight. And those 3 defenders, Hedrick, Ibiaga, and Newnham, 3 of those 6.
Right, but a player who won't be making his debut tonight, 36-year-old Rafa Castillo, led the team in goals last year. An extremely tricky player, fantastic on set pieces.
Meanwhile, Rio Grande Valley has brought back the vast majority of their faces. There are 4 Houston players sent down for this game, but they are familiar to the USL.
And the key player for them will be right in the middle, number 8. Charlie Ward is a mainstay in the midfield. Last year, one of only 2 players in the whole entire league to play every single minute of every single game.
We're moments away from kicking off here at HEB Park in Texas as the South Texas Derby renews its vigor in the 2017 season. We kick off when we return. Almost ready to kick off here in Edinburgh, Texas. HEB Park is perfectly manicured for the occasion. They opened on Wednesday against Monterey, and now they're ready to kick off USL play. In the orange jerseys, it's the home side, Rio Grande Valley, moving left to right, and such tremendous excitement among this fan base as they open up their new stadium against a big rival. Mike Watts, Morgan Conklin with you as this is a game that San Antonio has been thinking about since the moment the schedule came out, as the ball kicked away by Sebastian Ibiaga, one of those new players into the equation for San Antonio this year at center back. Shot deflected back. Taken by Castillo. First touch of the year for Matt Cardoni. And the foul seated. It belongs to Kai Green, who took that contact in RGV. Rio Grande Valley has dominated this rivalry thus far as the ball leaking up the left side. Play breaks down. 3-0-1. They lead the series, including that massive defeat by San Antonio here in the Valley last year to close their regular season. With 3 points, they would have been in the playoff field. Instead, Rio Grande Valley has continued to get the best of this group, including a second-place finish in the West last year. And as the ball curled in by Green. Now for the left-hand side for Rio Grande Valley. Bird going up the left. And a goal kick coming. There's Darren Powell. His second year. This time he got a little time, Morgan, to build this team. They were founded in December and had to play a couple of months later when they initially came into the league last year. And the fact that they finished 10th with all that turmoil is all the more impressive.
And the exciting part is that they've had time now to really build the team and work together. So it's an exciting season for them because they've just had the time to see what can happen.
And, of course, they expect to win. They have the pedigree. They're part of that Spurs Sports and Entertainment group, which, of course, has won the NBA championship plenty, but they'd like to add a USL Cup trophy to the cabinet as well. Kicked ahead by Ibiaga. Elizondo going to his right. Ajekwa. Throw stays with San Antonio. And there's Junior Gonzalez, year number 1 at the helm for Rio Grande Valley, as he takes over for Wilmer Cabrera, who was brought up to the Houston side to take over as the head coach there after a tremendous year in the USL last season. Castillo. And flag up on Ajekwa, who was signed in December, one of those players making his debut.
Mike, you can just hear the electricity coming from the stands, the fans, just so excited. When there's a new stadium and opening day, it's always exciting, but it's exciting for the players, and the fans are just as bought in as these teams are. So it's a great day for them as well to be able to just cheer on their team. A beautiful day as well.
And you look around the league, and not just the attendance, but the new stadiums coming in. Phoenix selling out their stadium this week. Louisville, great attendance. Richmond set a record for the Kickers franchise for attendance in a game. Tampa Bay set a franchise record for attendance at Al Lang Stadium. And now you open up Rio Grande Valley Stadium, and this is just another in a long line of great moments for this league this week as Elizondo plays it forward, and Ajekwa was the target again.
You've heard the buzz about how it's one of the most exciting seasons for the USL, and that is just why. So many good things happening all across the league.
And this is a gem. Make no mistake, this is an absolute gem.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Which we shouldn't really lay waste at Toyota Field either, because San Antonio has one of the best stadia in the league as well, but only adding to the rivalry between these two teams. 5 minutes plus into the game, and it's been a rather quiet and unassuming start for HEB Park, which opened on Wednesday against Monterey of Liga MX, a 3-0 defeat for Rio Grande Valley, but that would hardly put a damper on the larger occasion. Ibiaga. Good ball for Forbes. Touched away by Kai Green. Here's Cyprian Hedrick, comes over from Oklahoma City Energy, where he found himself playing all 90 in the vast majority of games last year. Fans are really going to enjoy watching him play in San Antonio, almost as much as they hated watching him play last year against them with the Energy.
An unnecessary giveaway there for San Antonio. RGV playing a nice line of confrontation, getting their defenders behind the ball to force simple mistakes like that for them to get the ball back. But if you're San Antonio, that's a simple pass, and it doesn't need to be given away.
And we talk about the fact that there's only one returning defender, but that means that all four defenders in the starting lineup are unfamiliar with each other. As a defender, even those basic passes, are those just a little more difficult in the first few weeks of a new season?
Yeah, because you're just trying to learn how your teammates play, not just having new defenders or new midfielders, just new everybody. You're trying to see where certain players have tendencies of running, whether they open up, whether they drop off. So, yeah, it is common. All across the league, we've seen teams just trying to gel together as the games go on, because they've played preseason games, but this is the first real test. It's a game you're on. The opening stadiums, the fans are all there. So it's always different when you have your opening day compared to preseason games.
Reed finding Elizondo as he pushes ahead. The back line holding steady for San Antonio, in the midfield stepping forward to break play down. Jaquwa, a nice step over to create a bit of space against Garcia, and now a long-range effort is well wide of the target. The man in the back in goal for Rio Grande Valley is Callie Brown, who found his way into the lineup often. Those sweets we'll take a look at halftime. Just another marvel of this new HEB Park. Over 9,000 seats. It's expected to not only be the center point of soccer in the Valley, home to over 1.3 million people, but they hope to have plenty of performing acts come through as well in this privately funded stadium. A long run here, and it's tipped right into Brown, who's down on the ground injured. Elizondo got past the defense and nearly tipped that in, and Brown worse for the wear.
A great slip ball. Good hustle by Elizondo, but the ball's right in between. Goalkeeper comes out.
That's a knee into an unfortunate area of the body for Callie Brown. And Junior Gonzalez, the first-year head coach, saying that there was a push from Taylor Hunter that pushed Elizondo into Brown.
Elizondo was just quicker and got around to go to the ball, so he had a little bit of space. Hunter was just trying to use his body, but he got beat to the ball, so Elizondo is going to follow it. Callie Brown did a great job of coming out. Nothing intentional on that, both players just going for the ball, but those collisions are always scary when a forward's coming forward and a goalkeeper's coming out as well.
Callie Brown, out of the University of Virginia initially, ended up redshirting as a freshman, third string as a sophomore. Then he quit the team altogether, but came back and ended up competing in the College Cup, something that only a certain number of Virginians are able to do, including Morgan Conklin.
With Virginia Tech, though.
With
not
Virginia Tech, no, of course.
Virginia has been there plenty of times, though. I have to say that.
Brown out of Leesburg, Virginia. That's a long way from Rio Grande Valley, but not too far away from you, I don't think.
Not too far, about 2 hours from my hometown. Yeah. Not too far at all.
Here comes Cyprian Hedrick. And another little bit needless giveaway. And that came from the pressure riding from Rio Grande Valley.
Absolutely. Eric Bird did a great job of tracking that ball back and forcing a turnover.
Murphy guilty of the foul.
I think right now what we're seeing is just a little bit of opening day jitters. I wouldn't call it nerves, just jitters. Players not connecting their simple passes, touches being a little off. Murphy, I'm sure, would like that one back. Didn't have the ball right at his feet. So players just trying to kind of get in their groove. It's a new season. There's a lot of fans out there, new teammates. So as the game goes on, I'm going to look for players to get their touches under control, connect their simple passes, because that's how you build confidence going forward, is doing the easy things well. And then you can build up and try more difficult passes, more difficult touches, and so on.
And Forbes massaging that left leg as he tries to work his way back up. This is the start of his 4th professional season. And while there is a new rule allowing any fouls worthy of a yellow card or even a red card, allowing trainers on to take care of a player without him having to leave the field of play afterward, not the case this time around. That one of a couple of rules that make their appearance in the USL this year, down to 3 subs from 5. And in addition, there is new video review technology, not only in a couple of games, but this year in over 24. More info on that on USLsoccer.com. Really frontline stuff from the United Soccer League in their first year as the Division II league in this country. Through ball finds the end line, and Callie Brown will have a goal kick. So RGV will work out of the back. 13 minutes into the game and scoreless. Castillo. Played up the right-hand side. Some opportunity now for a Jakeway. He stays on side. Sends service into the middle of the box, and that's knocked over. It's a corner kick coming up. And nearly a free header for Billy Forbes had the defensive Green not come in time.
Kai Green, a fantastic track, was on the wrong side of Forbes, but gets around it, gets a touch to clear that ball, because that is a dangerous cross. And with a player like Forbes cutting across the near post, that easily could have been a very dangerous ball. But great track by Green to stay with the play, stay with his runner, and force it out.
Ben Noonan, the former outside back, is standing next to Castillo, former Louisville City outside back, I should say. First game was San Antonio. This ball winds into the middle of the box, setting up a shot that's deflected out. Throw for the road team, who seek their first ever win against Rio Grande Valley in this 4-game series in its 2nd season as the South Texas Derby.
Something to continue to watch throughout this game is the organization of RGV from their backlines going forward. Their midfield is so talented, so strong, but just their organization throughout the field and how they defend together.
Elizondo gliding in, setting up a shot that's in the net. And it's Billy Forbes who puts San Antonio in front.
Billy Forbes proved that he could be dangerous early on with that cross. That was cleared out by Green, but a great job getting to the end line. A good slip ball right across. That is such a simple finish by Forbes. Great job just standing his ground and finding the ball, slipping it away.
So San Antonio, the first on the board in this rivalry in 2017. 15th minute goal for Forbes. This is the beginning of his 4th professional season.
And the hard work that set up that goal was by Ellen Zondo, getting to the end line and playing just a simple slip ball across. He made Forbes' finish as simple as it could be by getting to the end line, playing a ball directly to his feet. Forbes was in the right position, did everything he needed to do, but what a great ball right across. That is almost as simple as a finish can get.
And he made that simple by having a good enough move to create space for himself on the wing, right? That it seems really simple. That pass wasn't too hard, but it took more effort to set up the pass than to actually execute.
And part of the setup is taking a good touch, not just directly wide, not to the corner, but a touch inward towards the goal. So it's on his left foot and he can slip it right back across the 6 where you want your forward to be waiting and where his forward was waiting for him.
What a start for San Antonio in a game that at times was a bit on the comatose side in the first 13 minutes. And now RGV tries to respond. A group that last year not only beat San Antonio here in the Valley to knock them out of the playoffs, but beat them soundly 3-0. Escalante, and now Luna brought down as the two interchanging, and the foul by Ajakwa.
Look for Luna to be finding the ball a little bit more. This midfield is going to control their possession and look forward when they need to, but look for Luna to continue to show, because he's a very good attacker with his back to goal. He can turn players, he can combine, so look for Luna to keep showing for the ball so he can be an option.
And having a guy like Escalante who loves to run up and down the wing seems like a really logical player to pair with him.
Because it makes both of them extremely dangerous. It's almost pick your poison.
This ball lined into the box. Lofted up Cardone there to take it in for San Antonio. Look at that beard, my goodness.
Look at the hair.
He doesn't even need the gloves or the hands. Just use the beard. He's got the crimson chin.
He's got a little bit of a mullet, too. Mm-hmm. That's what I saw.
Where's there more hair, the front or the back?
Oh, man. You don't see that too often.
No, but, if the look works.
Yeah, if you can do it, do it.
It's the ultimate goalkeeper look. He stepping in for the retired Josh Ford. He really took over the position last year with Ford injured for much of the campaign. But Forbes' numbers were markedly better, so it'll be interesting to see how Cardone works for San Antonio as the full-time starter. He also has a completely reconstructed back line to work with as it's knocked back. Pushed ahead by Ibiaga.
And that's something to note. We mentioned only one returner on that back line, but as you said, including the goalkeeper. So that's a completely new look for the San Antonio team.
Bird, no foul as Pekka did well to take it away. Castillo lines the ball forward. That's too far for the goal scorer, Forbes. And it's worth noting, you think about Rio Grande Valley and its area, it's the 7 counties near the U.S.-Mexico border. And all of the tremendous play going on right now in the state of Texas in terms of soccer as a foul committed in midfield. FC Dallas is playing against Pachuca in the Scotiabank CONCACAF Champions League semifinals right now. These two teams are playing against each other now. Houston, of course, combining with Rio Grande Valley to help create this tremendous team that finished second in the USL's Western Conference last year. This is the golden age of soccer in the state of Texas. Cochran playing it back, and here's Cyprian Hedrick. Ibiaga, one of the 2 Ibiaga brothers in the USL. Here comes Ben Noonan. Knocked away by Magalhaes. Played across the midfield. Cochran there to keep it. Led the team in minutes a year ago. Second in assists. Bird doing a little bit of head faking too, and eventually takes the contact and goes down as Pekka knocked him down.
Bird's taking a lot of the contact so far. He's not afraid to take players on. Be a little cheeky before he makes his passes, but I'm sure he's happy he got that call because he's been knocked down a time or two so far.
He was due. He was due. Luis Guardia is our referee today, and so far nothing too controversial. So I think Eric Bird would like a little more of a sensitive whistle. Jaquwa keeps it for San Antonio. And now maybe we get to see what Rafa Castillo can do. This is a set-piece artist, if there is one in this league. And it will be Castillo. And it looks like they're going to reset and try this again. That's the first time I haven't understood the referee's call today. They'll do it again. Castillo. And that's easy for Callie Brown.
He had the right idea, but the ball should be pulled back a little bit more because that's a very simple save for Brown to make as it was whipped in, so it's coming at Brown fast so he doesn't have to come off of his line too quickly to make that save.
Little push from behind. Forbes lifts it into the back. And it's Elizondo taking it outside. Trying to turn around. His options quickly perishing. Forbes. And it's kicked out by Murphy. That looked really dangerous at the outset.
This RGV team's doing a great job of tracking and getting back and helping out their defenders. Most of San Antonio's opportunities have come from individual 1v1 battles, getting past their defenders, because as a team, RGV is doing a good job of defending, although they're down 1-0. Most of San Antonio's success is coming from individual battles that they're winning.
Ward took it away from Castillo, as that individual battle again goes to Rio Grande Valley, and it's Ward, who we talked about a little bit in pregame, a guy who doesn't maybe get all the headlines, but does provide quite a bit.
RGV getting a little lucky there. It's not a bad idea to play that ball, but Garcia's needs to be a little wider. He's too central because his defender, it was simple for him to get to that ball, and if your touch isn't directly at your feet, it gives his defender a good chance to pick off the ball. So RGV got lucky there. I see what they're trying to do, trying to find the other side and move it, but in order to do that, the outside backs need to get even wider on the touch line, as wide as they can so they have more space.
Hedrick just knocks that over his head and into a dangerous position. The flag up for offside on Elizondo, as that quite nearly tic-tac-toed right into a dangerous spot.
Both teams are struggling to find their rhythm right now. As we said, there's a lot of individual battles going on, but RGV's trying to play. They're trying to possess. San Antonio is playing a little more direct. They're defending well as well, getting some turnovers, but both teams are still just trying to settle in and find one another and play their game. There hasn't been too much combining so far this game.
The goal came back in the 15th minute from Billy Forbes as it's kicked away by Cardoni. He's playing catch with Callie Brown. And Brown goes the opposite and decides to play short. Other than that, it really has been a rather disjointed game.
And that's common for the first game. We've said that. You often see teams still trying to figure out personnel, style of play, tendencies. But as this game goes on, I'm going to look for both teams to establish their style of play, whether it's possession, whether it's direct, figuring out what that is and what brings them success, and then working on that as the game goes on.
RGV attacking the wing again. Escalante, who last year was a revelation for this team. He had a tremendous season, called up at the end to Houston. He's up with Houston full-time now, but one of 4 Dynamo players with RGV today. Of course, this is a hybrid affiliation. RGV has its own business operations group, but Houston makes all the tactical decisions from the coaching staff down to the players. As that knocked out. And it's Escalante who's reaching for his ankle. Escalante wants to keep going. The official's going to let him in. And can you really blame the defender who has to handle Escalante and Ajekwa in the midfield trying to get him off for a moment?
That's a good matchup there. Escalante is so tricky, loves to take players on 1v1, get past them. Ajekwa, a great defender. So that's a good matchup to watch, as Escalante is a quick player that they look to start a lot of their attack wide. But matched up with Ajekwa, it's going to be tough for Escalante to just find space and get forward.
Hunter going now to Kai Green. Best opportunities so far have come from this wing as Murphy fires it right down the middle. Taken by Forbes. Castillo finally breaks free with the ball. Ajekwa turning on the Jets. Wasn't able to reach the other end.
Great body positioning there by Kevin Garcia. Great job just getting his body in the way to keep possession there, because he probably wasn't as fast right there, but the body positioning was fantastic. So he got to the ball first from the direction that he started to run.
Well, you were undersized as a defender at the outside back position. I assume there are certain things you can do to try and overcome certain deficiencies, and one would think the speed that Ajekwa has, the way that you make up for that is by doing the little things right.
Well, and it's knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, and if I'm not as quick as a player, I need to run the shortest distance to the ball in order to cut that player off and get there first, to then position my body so they cannot get to it. So it's just knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. If you're not the fastest person, if you're not the biggest person, it's going around that and playing around that fact.
A throw coming for Kai Green, a midfielder turned defender at Seton Hall. Darren Powell looking on. His team holding a 1-0 lead for the last 14 minutes. Another throw coming. Green transitioning into the starting role in the second half of the 2016 season. The turn coming from Emilio Garcia. Not a great header. That cycled back up into the air. Cardoni falls down, and the contact earns the foul. It looked like Cardoni was the one who was really issuing the physicality.
Which the goalkeeper is able to come out, but it looked like he bumped into his own player. There was a lot of jerseys right around the ball. A bit of a cluster. It's a tough call there. If a goalkeeper goes down often, it calls the referee's attention. But Cardoni had the right decision, came out for that, which he should do.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of the mullet from this angle?
It's definitely a mullet. I was a little skeptical earlier. I didn't know if it was, but from this angle, it definitely is a mullet.
Wind whipping in Edinburgh, Texas. What a terrific evening it is for opening day of this brand new stadium in USL play. They did open the doors for a sellout crowd when they took on Monterey of Liga MX this week. But they've got the lights on tonight, and a stadium that took over a year to build is finally ready. Could this be the first goal? Driving inside, setting up a shot. My goodness, it goes wide. Kyle Murphy had a golden opportunity to score first for RGV at HEB Park.
And Kyle Murphy's going to want that back because he did the hard job of tracking and defending and then finding the open space for the cross by Luna. He was so calm, took his time before, but just hit it wide. He had the space, he had the time, he saw the space and went to it. He did all the hard work and just couldn't put the simple pass away, but he will remember that, and he will make that run again, and he will tackle again like that because he knows what can happen.
How exasperating is it to do all that work, and then it's almost like the air out of the balloon?
It's frustrating for sure, and you remember it, but at the same time, it's gone. There's nothing he can do now. So he puts it aside and tries to get the next goal.
Maybe a bit unluckily for Murphy in particular, a little bit of a pause before play continues as they work on the San Antonio defender. It's a warm night in Rio Grande Valley this evening. Great crowd on hand, as this ownership group really wanted to do this right. They didn't want to do a new stadium every couple of years. They wanted a great stadium, and they wanted it the first time around. They said they want this to be a 30-year stadium, and from generations across that rail, I think they're all going to end up coming here for all 30 years.
That little boy will be coming in 30 years.
I hope so.
It is just beautiful. The field, the surface, the stands, the suites, everything is just fantastic what they have there.
And we're going to take you on a guided tour through the stadium a little bit later on at halftime. As we're really excited to walk you through all the amenities of this new complex.
So much more than just the field.
And I think it's the kind of place where fans are going to want to try and swing a road trip through. If you're a fan of this league, you kind of want to come here. This is the new gem in this league.
Amongst many. You can just cross them all off on your map as you go. Honestly, there's just so many beautiful stadiums and cities and areas, and it's just such an exciting time.
Orlando playing in the new Orlando City Stadium is obviously a gorgeous place. Toyota Field, one of the best in USL, and it has been for the last couple of seasons now, as they'll open up at Toyota Field with 3 consecutive home games: LA, Colorado Springs, and then their first match against Reno after this affair on the road. And of course, whether it's Cincinnati or it's Bonnie Field in Sacramento, certainly Nippert and Bonnie provide a different kind of atmosphere. Great places to be. This brought ahead. Could they double their lead? Forbes plays it right across the face of goal, and that kicked out. How quickly can Rio Grande Valley respond? They bomb it out of play.
Well, RGV's response right now needs to be tighter defense. Taylor Hunter has been a little bit laxed in the back. He's being just dribbled around almost. Players are touching it past him. He needs to position his body better and be ready for the speedy players to take the touches by him, because it's happened a few times so far this game. So RGV needs to respond with tight defense at the back.
Here's Ward. Garcia. And this ball falls to Luna. Luna in a dangerous position. Tries to cut away, and the ball poked out at the vital moment.
You could see Luna starting to dribble forward. Didn't have too much, so he paused a little bit on the ball, which is a good idea to allow his teammates to get forward. He couldn't find a space, couldn't find the open run, but I like seeing him get forward. I like seeing them look for him. So it's something that RGV is going to continue to look for, because he brings them success. He is dangerous when the ball is at his feet, whether he's a target, whether he's dribbling with the ball, whether he's holding off a defender. When the ball comes to him, he is dangerous. So they need to continue to look for him.
And Taylor Hunter does well to keep San Antonio out, but does concede the corner kick. So we'll see what Rafa Castillo can do this time around. Bit of a vagabond early, played in Colombia and in Egypt, the Colombian national team for a handful of years. He's 36 years old now. And the referee, Luis Guardia, is chiding the trainer to take Cyprian Hedrick, who's already had this same leg worked on off the field. And the question remains whether or not Cyprian Hedrick will be able to play out the full 90, which last year in Oklahoma City certainly felt like a sure thing. And his center back partner, Sebastian Ibiaga, getting a little water himself before he heads back out. Cochran, the lone remaining starter on that back line, going over to talk to Hedrick. And it looks like they will be looking to make a change. So, Stephen McCarthy, yep, there he is, going to come on, the center back. 6'4", out of Honolulu, Hawaii. And that's enough for Cyprian Hedrick. It's got to be a disappointing debut for Cyp Hedrick. Meanwhile, you did just bring in a 6'4" center back on this ensuing corner. And this ball launched across the face of goal, and Ibiaga got ahead to it, but right on the end line and knocks it out.
I love the hustle to keep that ball in. And what a great idea. Those are always some of the best goals when you can track the ball right on the end line, bring it back across. He had the right idea. Didn't pull it off, but that's a tough ball to play, but I really like the effort going forward. It's also not uncommon to see a center back trying to keep that in because it's always fun when a defender can get forward and get close to goal.
And Sebastian Ibiaga, a guy who scored a couple of goals last year in his 2 stops, both in the USL and in another league in the United States. Foul as Emilio Garcia is down for RGV.
And that foul doesn't happen if the pass is directly to Garcia's feet. And we've said earlier, I've talked about it, the passes are a little off, and it's tough because if your pass is off, you can't keep possession. Or if your pass is off, tackles like that can happen and fouls can occur. So that's why finding feet or connecting or just being on the same page is so important, because that's the basis for going forward and creating an attack.
That may be being what colloquially is called a hospital pass. A little bit offline and right into the run of another player's foot.
Exactly. Never want to send someone to the hospital for a pass. That's where that came from.
As nearly breaking through the defense and the contact, along with now a little bit of dissent from Forbes. And Reed, the captain for this San Antonio side, trying to tell Forbes, hey, you got your goal, calm down. Another heavy challenge, and Cardoni collects for San Antonio.
San Antonio doing a nice job spreading out the field. They can take their time. They can possess. They have a 1-goal cushion at this point. For RGV, I've said it multiple times, they need to connect. That'll give them confidence going forward. That allows them to play their best game. Their strength is being able to dictate the midfield and be patient going forward. But they play their best when they're patient and connect their passes because it gives them time to create opportunities.
McCarthy hits that back. The only question that remained was that a throw-in or a goal kick? And the two sides couldn't seem to agree. It is indeed a goal kick here for Rio Grande Valley, playing their first USL regular season game here at HEB Park. And they are saying indeed it's a throw-in, so no need for play to have been stopped in the first place. But it does give San Antonio a chance to get back a little bit.
I'm not sure what the miscommunication was there, but you're exactly right. San Antonio gets the benefit of the miscommunication or whatever just occurred. I'm not even sure what you would call that, honestly. But that worked out in San Antonio's favor. They have time to push forward and get numbers forward because earlier RGV had so much time and space and would have been able to build up. But San Antonio gets the benefit. They have the ball back in a great position for them.
and they moved RGV a legitimate 25 yards down the touchline, and that may have been the issue. But can San Antonio take advantage? Reed, and taken by Brown.
Good, solid save from Brown to come off his line and establish possession for his team once again. As I said, they got the short end of that missed call that happened with the goal kick throw-ins, but they were able to keep the ball. Nice save by him, show some confidence for his team, and now they get another chance.
Sliding that ball out over the touchline. 41st minute. San Antonio scored in the 15th. Billy Forbes, 26-year-old forward, scoring for San Antonio. In his first game with the club, and already opening his scoring account. Launched up. Kick by Cochran. Garcia trying to find Green, collects again, injected into the lineup, his first start in June against San Antonio last year. Cutting towards the end line, Luna sends service, this ball bounces through the box, chipped over to the side towards Bird, instead it's kicked out as the deflection saves San Antonio.
One of the best buildups for RGV so far. There was a good idea to find the ball wide from Garcia earlier. Didn't come across. The ball didn't get to the player, but stayed with the play, played it forward. A very good slip ball that didn't come off once again. So RGV has the ideas. They're starting to build now. You can see the wheels kind of turning as things connect, which is good for them as they go into half to try to get a goal before half. But if not, they have some momentum. They're starting to play the soccer that they like.
How about a Jaquan going after the ball? Going after Kevin Garcia, too.
Very aggressive. He's a Jaquan, whether he's attacking, he defends well as an attacking player, which is always nice to see. So he's very aggressive, and I like seeing that. It's always fun to see an attacking player who likes to get back and defend and help his team out in that sense.
And I think AJ Ajakwa is going to be a really appreciated player with this group by the time the year is over. He signed in December and was part of that OC Blues team that got the 8th and final spot in the Western Conference playoffs last year over, among others, San Antonio, who finished 2 points behind. And Rio Grande Valley push at the end of the first half and try and even out play. Emilio Garcia, a bit of a ragdoll in the last couple of minutes. He's been all over the field.
And that's just from, we said earlier, Bird was getting knocked around. The midfielders trying to get on the ball, which is good to see. They're finding it. They're being creative, but oftentimes, as you said, a bit of a rag doll. You get knocked down when you're around the ball at all times. But it's good for RGV. As I said, they're starting to build their momentum. They're starting to get more creative, and their midfield's trying to take control.
This lofted towards Luna. And the flag was up against Luna, who is yet to really make a great impact in this game. He was involved in that earlier misfire by Murphy on the offensive end, but he hasn't really gotten a lot of forward-looking touches in this game.
One part of that is because the midfield has been having trouble winning the balls and playing passes to him. He says he's dangerous around the box. Well, there haven't been many crosses, and he hasn't been able to find the ball around box, so he's been a bit quiet, and that's something that RGV will look to change in the second half, is winning the midfield battles so they can take advantage of such a dominant player like him.
What was that quote that he gave about himself?
Called himself a fox in the box. I like it.
Ruben Luna being profiled this week in the Monitor by Greg Luca, who did a really good piece about him. Something you should absolutely go look up. It doesn't take a lot of effort to go Google that. Read a really good piece. San Antonio a chance to attack late in this first half. And they'll have another corner kick from that right-hand wing with 3 minutes of added time.
Once again, great body positioning by Kevin Garcia. Nice little 1-2 wall pass right around the box, always very dangerous. Garcia did a great job staying with the play, gave up a corner, but in that moment, that's probably the least dangerous option that could have come. So good defense by him, good body positioning once again.
Ben Noonan is not near Castillo this time. Castillo aiming again for Ibeagha, who curls behind the rest of the group again. And you were pointing at him as he was curling around the top of the box. They had run that play previously with Ibeagha.
They played the far post ball earlier, so that's something. It seems like they're looking to find Ibeagha on that far side, whether to have him bring the ball back across or if he's free for a header, to have him head the ball in. So that's something that they seem to be looking for, is Ibeagha is that target on the corner kicks, which is surprising. You have somebody like McCarthy with such height in the box, but they're looking for that far post ball.
Ibeagha, a guy who, again, has scored a couple of goals last year. Maybe a guy who they're looking to get in a second ball, which at times can be the most dangerous. Throw for Cochran, halfway through first half stoppage time. Coming up at halftime, we've got the sit-down with Jake Edwards, USL president. Take a look at the highlights and stats, and perhaps the greatest highlight of this night, win or lose, an inside look at this new stadium in Edinburgh, Texas, as we show you HEB Park from the inside. Darren Powell handing it off to Cochran, his team halfway to 3 points, trying to knock off RGV for the first time in this now second year rivalry. By Green, Castillo keeps it alive. Elizondo. Did that take a deflection? No, it didn't. It's a goal kick.
This is a chance for RGV to take advantage of probably one last build-up before halftime. They've tried to play with one another, tried to connect their passes. They're having trouble doing so. But this is the time to try one more time. Maybe you slip one in, or at least create some positive momentum going into halftime.
And maybe this is a big mistake. And it's picked up by Brown, who at times has seen his distribution really leave his team a little weary. Turned over one more time, and before San Antonio can spring back forward, we've reached halftime in South Texas. And Morgan, this is a first half where RGV very easily could have had a goal. Murphy's walking off, knowing that he let a bit of a howler get by him there. But other than that, San Antonio picks up a goal in the 15th. Your overarching thoughts?
RGV could have used that goal, a simple goal to get the equalizer here, because they're struggling to find passes. When they usually control the midfield, they're having trouble doing that today, and a lot of that is from San Antonio. They've been aggressive. They're winning the first balls. They're challenging. So I've been extremely impressed with San Antonio so far this half, and RGV is going to look to regroup and come out and play their style of play.
When we come back, we'll have stats, and later in halftime, highlights and a sit-down with USL President Jake Edwards at 45 minutes. San Antonio 1, Rio Grande Valley 0.
like to thank everyone for coming out to our Enchilada Festival earlier today. We are proud to take the picture, and we have a winner. In second place is Lala Maricelos and Sushi. And in first place, with over 600 votes, La Michelada Drive-Thru. Congratulations. We would like to thank all of our sponsors for today's event, brought to you by Forbes and Kids College Services in Edinburgh. A big thank you to Republic of the Grande, Grande, Olympic Grill, Peppers and Uptown, Blue Dog Drive-Thru, Magnetic Drive-Thru, Burger, Laguna Mexico, Sushi, Ignite Lounge, Woodward Bar and Grill, Enchilada Drive-Thru, Warner, Zip Lounge, and Mambo Seafood. Right now, wait. Thank you for being a part of our Enchilada Festival. Thank you.
Going for break.
Halftime at Rio Grande Valley, and we take a look at our halftime statistics. Mike Watts back with Morgan Conklin. And San Antonio only needed 2 shots and the only shot on target to take a 1-0 lead. The possession, about the same.
And RGV is a talented team when it comes to possession, but they're having trouble having dangerous possession, I would say, is making their passes dangerous, going forward, finding their forwards. So RGV is going to look to be a little more direct and look towards goal a little bit more in the second half.
And we talked about it during this first half. RGV, possession, but they just can't seem to string anything together with any consistency, right?
Exactly. They have the right ideas. They have the passes looking in the right places, but they're not, the delivery isn't correct. It's not getting to players. It's either wide, too short, so a defender stepping in, out of bounds. So they have, as I said, they have the right ideas, but it's just the delivery and the finishing of the passes.
Meanwhile, let's take a look at this stadium, HEB Park. A little bit of an inside view. It's been built over the course of the last year with private money, over 9,000 seats at this stadium in the Rio Grande Valley, which is home to over 1.3 million people. RGV FC is the affiliate of the Houston Dynamo, and they've got one of the most sparkling palaces in the USL to call home, they hope, for the next 30-plus years. It took time to build this place, Morgan, but when you look at the inside, the outside, and the field, could you ask for anything better?
It took time, but they did it right. This is a place where you just want to go to watch the soccer, but you want to see the stadium. It is absolutely beautiful. As you said, the pitch, beautiful. The seats, the suites, just how close you can get to the field. Everything is absolutely beautiful. As you said, it took time, but they definitely did it right.
We'll come back in a few moments and take a look at the suites here as well. We got highlights when we return. 1-0 San Antonio at the half.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Welcome into the USL Network. I'm TJ Reeves. It's opening weekend, and we have President Jake Edwards with us to talk about the beginning of the 2017 season. Jake, welcome. It's only been a few months since the USL Cup was raised in New York. Very busy off-season. One of your biggest stories, though, is elevation to Division II status. Tell us more about the importance of that.
Yeah, thanks, TJ. It's been a very busy off-season, as you said. Short off-season that gets shorter every year. A lot of good things happening. One of the big stories in the off-season was the sanctioning of the USL as Division II. This is a major component of a long-term strategic plan called Destination 2020. We embarked on this a little over 4 years ago. And a component of that was raising the level of operation and sophistication of the USL as a league and as the whole enterprise, working with all the clubs to make sure we have the right ownership, we have the right facilities, we have a sufficient level of operation at each club, and build it so that it has to be as good as or better as a second division level.
2017 is also another productive year for expansion. You're bringing 3 new expansion teams in this season, as well as several new ownership groups with existing teams. What is the overall league strategy on expansion, and will we see more of it soon?
We will. So we are expanding always with a national focus, but looking how we regionalize the competition.
We have several new stadiums opening this season. I know that has been a big goal of the United Soccer League.
It's a huge initiative for us. It's been a game changer for a number of other leagues when they focused on improving the quality of the buildings. For us, it's about delivering an authentic match day experience for the fan and providing the players a very professional environment to play in.
As you start this season, it is opening weekend. The competition level is getting stronger. You have an influx of young, talented players from the United States and other places, also veteran players that you're bringing back. How do you feel about the level of competition as this season begins?
I would say this is probably going to be the most challenging season for the teams to compete in this league. We've got a really exciting blend of talent in our league now. We've got some world-class players coming in, players like Joe Cole here in Tampa, Omar Bravo, legend out of the Mexican team playing for our team in Phoenix, Sean Wright Phillips also. So we've got players that have played in the Premier League and in the international levels. We've got a core group of professionals, of veterans that have played in the MLS, USL, overseas. We've got 70 players now in the league that play for full senior international squads. So we've got a good base of really high quality and in some cases world-class talent, but we've got this really exciting group of young players who are going to be the next superstars of the national teams or of MLS, let's say, in the future.
Jake, thanks very much. Good luck with the start to the season. If you want to see the complete interview, you can go to uslsoccer.com. The season underway. Thanks for being with us.
And thanks for being with us. Halftime at RGV's brand new stadium, HEB Park. 1-0 San Antonio over RGV. Back with Morgan Conklin, Mike Watts. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. And really for RGV, the story a bit disjointed and one big miss. The story for San Antonio, able to get by the defense and able to score the only goal of this game in the 15th minute. As we take a look back at the highlights from this first half, and right from the outset, we saw Elizondo really provide a spark moving forward.
Yes, San Antonio has had a number of different players just being so dangerous. Right again, plays a great ball across. What a finish there by Forbes. Beautiful positioning is in the right place, but that is such a simple finish because of the ball that was played across to him by Elizondo. Just a beautiful ball across. Made it as easy as he could, but Forbes, confident, comfortable on the ball, is able to put it away.
So that the goal in the 15th minute. RGV tried its darndest to get back into this thing. They had a couple of good free kick opportunities, and maybe this among the better opportunities they had in the run of play. We saw Luna get a couple of good touches forward. This time just couldn't put it all together. But this is a miss that's going to haunt this club. Kyle Murphy, no.
Well, and the work done by Murphy earlier in tracking, tackling, getting forward, open once Luna has the ball in the corner, slipped across and just takes it with the wrong foot, bad positioning of the body, and hits it wide. That is something that Murphy is going to want back.
What a gorgeous stadium you're looking at here, HEB Park. Has 9,000 seats, including several dozen along the touch lines. Those are the suites that you're looking at there. Let's take a look inside what makes this such a gem. As you can get all the way down, not only to field level, but you're practically right on the surface. This a real live picture going towards the field out of the club level here at HEB Park. Tickets that are available still for games this season. In total, the seats in each suite, 28 total suites. The leg room for seats here bigger than the average for a stadium being built right now in this country. And it's just a tremendous view for people to come see, and all the amenities of a pro sports complex that's certainly worthy of pro soccer in this region.
And it makes going to a game that much more fun. It's absolutely gorgeous. I keep saying it, but I just can't get over it. Every part of it, suites, field, seats in the suites, everything beautiful.
As even the two sides have those extended coverings as well, which will certainly come in handy over the summer. This is the earliest start time RGV is going to have at home, 6 Central Time, at any point this year. And, of course, comes early before the real heat of summer comes down. It's something that could be expanded to as many as 20,000-plus seats if they decide to expand along and close the stadiums on both sides. But they've been talking with various groups, Live Nation and NAEG, about bringing concert acts through here as well, according to articles in the region. And, of course, this is the best ticket in town, RGV, who last year were second in the USL's Western Conference come season end, but a disappointing first-round exit to an OKC Energy team that for the vast majority of the season was in similar position, top 3, top 4, and simply fell off before knocking off RGV in the first round, the quarterfinals of the Western Conference playoffs. On to the second half, and hopeful RGV fans that their team can turn this around in due time and maybe string together a few more passes than we saw in the first half. But it's San Antonio working quickly and first. Ball shot across the face of goal, and really nothing there.
Nothing there, but not a bad idea to play direct early on to just test this RGV backline and just see how they're going to handle it. Not a bad idea. Nobody was on the other side of that cross, but now RGV is stuck in their corner and has to build out, which they had trouble doing in the first half.
Kicked away by Bird, but that's into a dangerous position. Castillo was blasted, and there's no whistle. Play still continuing. Lifted up the left side. It's Forbes. Castillo is still down. He got absolutely mauled at the top of the box. And now Rio Grande Valley a chance to bring it the other way. Castillo, you can see hobbling back into the screen as play continues. Rio Grande Valley struggling to score right now. That was rarely the case last season. One of the best scoring teams, not only in the Western Conference, but in the USL in total. They scored 47 times. About a goal and a half a game. But it seems that in the early going of this game, they've been slow to the punch.
You can see the frustration on their faces when passes don't come off. You can see the body language and just the frustration on their faces. But the first half is over with. And RGV can be a new team coming out of half. So far, they've struggled to make passes once again, but there's so much more time left to play in this game. It's not too late to turn it around and play the type of soccer that they know they can and that they're super successful at.
Let's talk about San Antonio for a moment, because it's not like the Toros are playing against a series of 11 dummies here either. What's San Antonio doing that's making this so difficult for a team that last year really had their number?
They're pressuring. And as I've said multiple times, RGV is having trouble connecting passes. But what's making it extra difficult is that San Antonio defenders are right on the RGV players. So if there's a miscue, if the pass isn't perfect, there's a defender right in the way, and San Antonio is able to capitalize off of that. So their aggressive attacking from the defense is what's giving them a lot of success and what's making things harder for RGV.
Cardone, a goal kick after that ball leaked over the end line. Cardone yet to be tested. Played in 14 games last year and stopped just shy of 70% of shots. Elizondo colliding. Pekka. The header down. Can Rio Grande Valley keep the ball? It's Escalante looking for the handball, and the foul conceded. Tough half for the 36-year-old Castillo. He's really been taking the shots. McCarthy. Garcia. Throw for Ben Noonan, who last year helped Louisville City to 12 shutouts. Throw coming for A.J. Ajakwa. Ajakwa trying to take it away from Escalante. And Escalante wins the ball for the Toros.
Once again, RGV's in a tough position. They're stuck in their corner. They need to just find space, open the field up. So even if they lose it, at least it's not back in their own half.
Pekka tried to take it away, and it looked like a fairly clean strip as well, but play coming back, and RGV will have a restart as Luna still on the ground as RGV restarts up the right-hand side. And a big collision from Ibiaga, who uses his size to muscle the player away, and it comes back to Cardone.
Well, and the issue with that is the Toros tried a quick restart, which is fine. But if you have your target, Luna, on the ground, he isn't forward in the box where you would rather him be. So it's a good idea once again, but if Luna's on the ground, they need to get other players to fill in that hole since he's not there.
Lifted long, play appears onside, but the flag up now at the bottom of your screen. Kai Green has been busy over there. Former Seton Hall Pirate. Pushing into the box, San Antonio. Contact, no whistle. GV clears the danger.
Beautiful build-up there by San Antonio. McCarthy gets the ball in the back. His outside backs are wide, so he has space. They're spacing out RGV. Plays a beautiful slip ball into the midfield, which then is built up to the attack. So that's great soccer there by San Antonio, using the whole field and stretching out the Toros so they can find the spaces in between.
Noonan was trying to get forward. HEB Park in Edinburgh, Texas. 1-0 in favor of San Antonio, going back to a 15th minute goal from Billy Forbes. assisted by Cesar Elizondo. It's SAFC who will hold that early lead. Something magical about opening weekend. A win, top of the standings, a loss at the very bottom. Really set the tone for a season. These two teams still feeling out the beginning. Here's Bird. Bird will strike it. And taken by Cardone.
A great individual effort there by Bird. Did a great job defensively of stealing the ball. Bit far out of a shot, but got a very, very strong look on frame. Got on top of the ball and had a dangerous shot.
Bird has another opportunity. This is knocked down by Cardone. He's able to grab it. Bird right now is a one-man wrecking crew against this San Antonio defense.
When you said earlier how Matt Cardone wasn't challenged too much. He's had two right in a row from Eric Bird. Not a good clearance. Bird right there to take advantage. A good step. Gets a good look on frame. Cardone does a great job of coming out, giving Bird no angle to get that ball past him. So fantastic job by Cardone, but Eric Bird is on fire. He has his eye on the ball, and he's trying to change this result for this Toros team.
And Bird really was handed a gift there from Cardone. You say not a good clearance, but that was a pretty brutal turnover if that ends up in the net.
But he didn't have a clear look on frame because the San Antonio defense shrunk, and he didn't have space to get around. So exactly, terrible clearance if I'm going to be honest, but it wasn't easy because the San Antonio defense made up for that and really closed the space to not give Bird a clear look on frame.
Ibiaga did well, even if he ended up on the ground, to force that extra touch, and then by the time Bird had gotten through, all lines off the hand of Cardone, and really gives RGV their best look of this game so far, outside of that Murphy miss. 55th minute, San Antonio 1, RGV 0 in the regular season home opener for the Toros of Rio Grande Valley. San Antonio is retreating backwards. RGV breaks up play in the midfield, tries to swing it outside. Escalante went down maybe a bit easily. And Emilio Garcia standing over there trying to get things restarted. Cardone keeps that from a potential corner. There's going to be a little bit of defending to do here as Noonan keeps it. And here comes Escalante. Sends service. And slid out by Ibiaga. Firing up his team after the clearance in front of his own net.
And Escalante showing how dangerous he can be when he doesn't have a lot of space. Garcia, nice turn, little slip ball to play Escalante in behind. He gives his team an opportunity.
And off that opportunity, a second ball, Bird comes down to Forbes. And Forbes is off to the races. Cuts inside on Bird. Slips it through the defense, trying the right-hand side. And now service, bounds down. Bird knocking it to Garcia. Escalante. Bird. Ward. Green. Maybe a little confidence here. A couple passes in a row as RGV tries to probe San Antonio.
And when you're having trouble connecting passes, those simple ones are what build confidence. As you said, it allows you to spread the field. They had some 1-2 combinations in the middle, were able to switch it and then build forward. So that's what RGV needs to do, because so far this game they're having trouble with the simple things.
And McCarthy tapped it out on the corner kick. The restart comes to Ward, who sends in service. It's strong. It's across the face of goal. It's lifted up by Cardoni. Still loose. It comes down. The shot is off the post. Quite nearly in the net from Murphy. He's denied a second time. Can RGV reload quickly? Lifted to Cardoni, who dives down on the ball. My goodness.
And look what can happen when there's confidence. The Toros have what they want to do in mind. They attack the ball. Murphy, once again, is in the right place, is due for a goal at this time in the game. But RGV showing how they can be a threat when they are confident, when they connect passes, when they move for one another, and when they are aggressive and go to the ball. So a good look for RGV, exciting to see them really find some rhythm in this second half. So it'll be good to continue to watch that as the game goes on, because they've had a taste of in front of the box. They've seen themselves come close, so now it's time to put one in the back of the net.
You can see some of this field coming up in bunches right now, something that's typically pretty common when you open up a new park. One of the players is picking at the ground a little bit. Really quite common, actually. 59th minute, Murphy ringing that off the post. Best opportunity for Murphy came and went in the first half an hour. Had a chance to equalize. That his best chance since. San Antonio putting half their shots on target. For RGV, was 40%. Jake with the player went down. Junior Gonzalez looks on, taking over for Wilmer Cabrera, former Seattle Academy coach. So coached with the Chivas USA, having won a national championship with UCLA. Chance here for Castillo and San Antonio. First ball handled easily enough. RGV may have taken a little too much for granted as Castillo went barreling in to keep that from going the other way. Fans chanting for really the first time, "Let's go Toros," rings through the park. And the Toros concede a foul 40 yards from goal.
Well, and if you're RGV, you just need to be careful, because either one of these teams, if the players nudge, they're going to go down, especially at this point in the game. So that is not an area you can give up a foul, especially when San Antonio has such dangerous players on the ball, a player like Castillo.
And he is on the right-hand side. San Antonio trying to double their advantage. As we pass the hour mark, Castillo runs by this time. Lifted into the box, it's Ibiaga. Ball comes loose. Brown wasn't able to control it. Now RGV brings it ahead. It's Escalante. Kept in by Forbes. And then the whistle as Rodriguez waiting to come on for Michael Reed. And a yellow card came out for the first time. And it's against Rio Grande Valley. Maxi Rodriguez comes on. Played at UNC Charlotte. Midfielder who hails from San Antonio. He debuts for his hometown team. And what better way to do it? He comes on for the captain, Michael Reed. Reed somewhat nondescript today, but if you're thinking about him positionally, that's kind of how you want it.
Exactly, a solid player. Didn't do anything outstanding, but then again, you don't remember hearing his name for anything
Negative.
destructive, exactly, for his team. So a good outing for him. As a captain, that's often how it is. They're a leader on the field and maybe aren't always the flashiest player, but a good look from him tonight.
Brown looking to restart for RGV. They've typically gone short off these goal kicks, but San Antonio clogging up some of those alleys. Rodriguez is the second sub as Stephen McCarthy came on for Cyprian Hedrick, who came off in his 99th USL appearance after cramping up. Ward. RGV has yet to use a substitution yet. Attack-minded again, but Castillo there seeking out Forbes. He tried to bring it down, and it's knocked away in the nick of time. Ward wide for Garcia. Into the middle of the 18. Bird tries to give it back. Garcia just a bit offline, kicked away by Noonan.
Once again, though, the right idea, finding that ball back in the middle, looking for the slip ball. It was a little in between Garcia's feet and then the ball in behind to Escalante, but once again, the right idea for RGV.
Escalante and Noonan still looking to get a goal kick out of this. And finally, they do get it as Garcia was headed over to the corner. HEB Park, brand new. Fans lining up. Get in here on Wednesday to see it for the first time when they took on Monterey. And now a great crowd on hand for the USL opener against a local rival in San Antonio in the South Texas Derby's first game of 2017. Here comes RGV trying to equalize, down since the 15th minute. It's Kai Green. Shielded from the ball. Stays in on the end line. There was contact, and Green was the one who brought down Cochran.
Green trying to make something for his team. Getting forward, as you said, a former midfielder, so he likes getting forward. He's used to being in the attack, but good body placement there, so Green couldn't get around him. As we said earlier, a lot of times Greg Cochran, a great player, does a great job just positioning his body in the right place, so Green can't get around him.
Of course, Green not only played midfielder, but he was a forward for Seton Hall the start of his senior season and then went back to the midfield position. But he does have a little bit of experience there as well, and he didn't look out of sorts, really, as he drove towards that byline.
And you see that often in the college game and professional game because from a forward going to a defender, they know tendencies of forwards, and then if you move a former forward to the back, they have tendencies to get forward. Mm-hmm. So it kind of benefits both sides to move a forward into the back because it just makes them that much more dangerous, especially on the outside.
And that sort of seems to be the modern growth of the game, having these wing backs who can get forward with that kind of intensity. It almost, I mean, I've been around a lot of, especially college programs, that love to have forwards that move back and play defender, even if they are a little defensively iffy. Is iffy the word?
But then it allows your central players to be those strong players who just control the midfield area, and it allows your attacking outside backs to just go up and down the flank.
Escalante serves. Bird chesting it down. Trying to keep it, and it's a high cleat there from Bird trying to keep that for RGV.
When at this point, the Toros need to just play the ball on the ground because they are not getting any help, no calls, so they need to play safe and simple in order to, as we said earlier, build that confidence to do more tricky things. But if the ball's in the air, they need to settle it in order to make something happen.
And you could see Ibiaga pointing to that hand. Great set of fans from San Antonio making the trip. Whether that's Mission City 118 or the Crocketeers, whoever it may be, that supporters group has really traveled and made themselves heard.
I know, man. I can hear now.
Ward. Escalante lets it by. May have had his legs chopped out from under him by Pekka on the way. It comes to Cardone.
And that's okay, but the idea is right. Once again, the buildup is there. So for the Toros, keep finding feet, spring it wide, find your very strong central midfield players, because if you take your time, if you're patient, that's your best style of play.
And an injured player for San Antonio, and it's Pekka, who's wheeling around on the ground now, grabbing his right leg. Play continued for a few seconds after that injury, but he continued to roll around, and Luis Guardia, the official in the middle, who is a bit of a veteran despite his young face in the USL ranks. Blue play dead. And for San Antonio, they only have one more remaining substitution. McCarthy there at the middle of your screen came on for the injured Cyprian Hedrick early on, and then Maxi Rodriguez came on for Michael Reed. You do have a couple of younger players that they could go to. Devin Vega, just 18 years old. Chris Tierpak, Sean Chin, a little more experienced, could find their way in. RGV waiting to get a sub on. Todd Wharton. Jose Escalante waiting to come off, it appears. There goes Pekka walking his way away from where he was laying moments ago. A 27-year-old player out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So we'll see how long he stays off the field and whether or not they decide to make a substitution for him. Meanwhile, Escalante has checked out in favor of Wharton. And Pekka being allowed back in with Darren Powell's suggestions in his ear. And San Antonio thought they were off to the races. And the pace right now certainly benefits the team with the lead. If you're RGV, you're trying to put some kind of shock to the system to get this thing beating again. San Antonio trying to break the pressure of RGV in the 72nd minute. They've led since the 15th when Billy Forbes took a pass and slotted a goal in from Cesar Elizondo. Here comes Kevin Garcia, former charge of Wilmer Cabrera at the MLS level. And again, back under him here. Pardon, coached by Cabrera at a youth level. Garcia, 22 in orange. Here's Bird. Bird able to keep it, slips a ball through. Luna coming after it. Cardone reaches out. And they're going to call a corner. There is no call for Luna, who went down in the box, and he's screaming to have someone come over and check on him.
What a slip ball. Luna's so dangerous, gets a touch on it. Great job coming out, though, for Cardoni, but Luna, you hope he's okay. That is a fantastic ball played in by Eric Bird.
The whole separate argument is whether or not you call a penalty, and I think everybody in the suite level right now would say yes. Maybe our best look here.
Definitely got his body. Don't know how much of the ball he touched there. That's a dangerous ball because it's in between 50-50 and then a bit of an advantage for RGV. So the safe call there is a corner kick.
The restart. Ward goes to his right. Played up the right-hand side, a chance to shoot. Deflected, still loose, lofted over. Well, Rio Grande Valley, a moment ago talked about can there be a bit of a shock here to this game. I think there's a little more life now.
Well, in the change that they made in taking out Escalante and bringing in Todd Wharton, they are two totally different types of players. Todd Wharton is more of a connector, more of a passer. You saw right there, he played a beautiful ball across. He's confident on the ball. He's going to make the passes. He'll have the right ideas. So when they've been struggling to connect in the midfield, that's a good change for them because it'll allow them to build up more because he's a player that wants to connect and won't be as much of a dynamic player as Escalante, but he'll play the style of play that brings them confidence in connecting passes. So it'll be a different look for the rest of this game with Todd Wharton in that attacking role.
That's good work from Garcia. Garcia working with Bird. Tries to cut it back, able to keep the ball, looking to serve. Instead, plays it wide. Garcia overlapping. Keeps that in on the end line and now sends his cross. Comes down, the header. It's cleared by Ibiaga.
RGV changing this momentum. They're pushing towards the goal. It's a different team right now that we saw throughout most of the game.
Across the field of play, Garcia able to control it before Forbes arrived. Bird brought down. Forbes coming away with the ball. Elizondo making his run down the middle, but Forbes going one-on-one. Ball deflected off of Magalhaes and comes Callie Brown. A quarter of an hour to go here at HEB Park.
And you can hear from the sideline the coaches are telling the Tours, play out of it. They don't want their guys just dribbling. They want them to play because that's their style, as we've said multiple times. So they want them to play out of it. And right now they have the formation that allows them to do that.
Here comes Forbes. Tries to cut it back towards the center of the field. Drops it back. Elizondo going towards Castillo. And now they try and play forward. Garcia. Bird. San Antonio able to slink back.
Player coming in, 11 for
Rio Grande Valley trying to get a goal in. Having to send some serious numbers forward. Rodriguez, the sub, young man out of San Antonio, the local signing. This is good from Rodriguez. He still has the ball.
Fantastic footwork.
Newnham. Castillo. High arcing ball. Nobody's there. San Antonio able to keep it off that first touch. RGV still has two subs available to them. TJ Kasner waiting on the touchline, trying to get into the game, the forward. Here come the Toros. Ball lofted, left-hand side. Bird brings it down. Bird sends it low. Cardone's got a piece. No one there to follow up on the rebound. And Garcia brought down. He wants to play quickly. Momentum with Ward and RGV. This ball just does get by. Here comes service. Lofted out. There's Kasner. Enough for Kyle Murphy, who's going to be kicking himself tonight, one would think. And he had his opportunities, rang one off the post, and unable to score another that seemed destined for the back of the net, but ultimately a player who has scored more difficult goals than that. And he gives way to a player in Kasner who certainly has his own goal-scoring tendency.
Murphy, just a magnet for the ball tonight. Just had a sense for where it would be in the box, and as you said, didn't come off for him. Had two great chances. I agree, he'll be a little frustrated tonight, but it's a good start for him. He's in the right spot. Now it just comes down to finishing, but good start for him. Kasner has time to change this game around. He has the ability. He's a dynamic player, so not a bad change for RGV, just for a different look for the end of the game.
Kasner, player out of Clemson, played with a ton of talent there as well. And Kasner finds the ball immediately. Helps to force the San Antonio turnover. Garcia. To Garcia. Garcia again. Ward. Here comes Hunter. Green. And here comes the final sub. That full 90 headband is back. But in a new location, on comes Chris Tierpak. AJ Ajekwa comes out after his San Antonio debut, giving way to a player who led Swope Park Rangers all the way to the USL Cup final last year, where Tierpak's scoring led them through the playoffs before falling to New York Red Bulls 2.
For the Toros defense, this is a tough change because you bring off a player in a Ajekwa, so dynamic, creative, quick, and then you bring in another player in Tierpak who is extremely creative as well, has proved that he can be dangerous. So for this RGV defense, you can't relax because you have fresh legs coming in who he can be extremely dangerous.
So there goes Tierpak. He was injured week 1 last season, but ended up making some of the biggest plays of the year for Swope Park. This ball lifted towards Kasner. Stays with RGV. There goes Tierpak. That's the third and final sub for Darren Powell. And they've got the lead he's looking for. And now they're defending another RGV corner.
Another one. They've had so many chances coming up. This is something they have to take advantage of. They've been close. They've been dangerous. They need to put one away.
Time running down for RGV to turn the narrative in their first game at HEB Park. Cardone coming way off his line. And a goal kick. Looking forward for RGV. They're at Tulsa and at OKC Energy, then a 5-game homestand. Colorado Springs, Tulsa, OKC, Swope Park, LA Galaxy 2. Not an easy start for this group. Castillo broke it up momentarily. Kasner turns, tries to keep it in. He did. Cochran juggling, comes down to Kasner again. Kasner, good move to set up. He's bringing it in on his own. He had an overlapping run in Green. Green stepping in. Battle for possession, and it belongs to Rio Grande Valley.
Ward working hard in that holding midfield spot, doing not the flashy work, but the important work, winning tackles, moving for his team, giving them lanes to pass. Ward working so hard for his team to try to build something going forward.
Garcia. Rio Grande Valley wants to get moving, but it's their own substitution that will hold things up. Christian Lucatero in for Emilio Garcia. Very much a offensive-minded substitution in the game's final minutes. So Garcia, the loanee from Pachuca, gives way to Lucatero, the 19-year-old Texan from the Houston Dynamo system. Hunter. Both teams have used their full complement of substitutions already. Aguilez. Pekka. Not a good touch. Kasner takes it back.
Good decision there just to play out, not try to keep the ball at his feet. Safe decision and smart there for Kasner.
In the final 7 minutes or so, 6 minutes plus stoppage, however many minutes that ends up being, you need to be somewhat creative, but sometimes the simple play gives you a good chance on free kicks. It allows you to keep possession and avoid those counters.
Exactly. You have to be creative at times, but it's picking the right moments to be creative, and then simple when you need to be simple. It's not forcing anything. It's not trying to do too much. It's just the right thing at the right time.
When do you drop simplicity and throw everything forward? It's still slightly early for that, right?
Around the 87th minute, obviously we're not sure how much stoppage time there'll be, but when you get down to below 5 minutes is when you start looking more direct, and in the last couple minutes you kind of can start getting crazy if you need that.
We'll see if RGV can take care of the one-goal deficit they've been staring down since the 15th. Lucatero lifts it to the right side of the box. The header comes back to Cardoni. It was a defensive header that found him.
And I think if we look at these second half stats, we're going to see all of the opportunities RGV has had. I said in the first half they're going to need to be a different team coming out of halftime. Took them a little bit to get going, but they've done that. They've started to just put more players forward and make this San Antonio team defend, but making it more difficult for the San Antonio team to defend. It was easy for them to defend in the first half. So RGV has done what they need to do. Keep it up. They still have time to put one away, but they're starting to play how they need to in order to be more dangerous.
And they'll take on Tulsa and David Vaudrill's team on the road next. Certainly bodes well that they're playing better in this second half of play for their upcoming stretch. RGV sending a strike. It deflects wide of Cardoni, and it's a corner kick coming as Wharton provided the shot on target.
And how dangerous Wharton can be when that ball is just touched down to the ground real quick. Quick shot, doesn't have much of a wind up, but good job by him just to heads up and just take it.
2 hands up. Service. Well done to turn that into a throw-in. As Lucatero puts it back in play. He's on a season-long loan, but will likely be brought up at some points this year, one would think. If he plays well here at Rio Grande Valley. Lucatero, one of the most exciting prospects in that Dynamo system. Tierpak puts that into the bleachers. Kasner circling.
They threw it from up on the...
One of the fans there tossed that into the field of play. Headed down by McCarthy. Ward Here's Taylor Hunter.
And you mentioned Stephen McCarthy. What a great job he's done coming in for the injured Hedrick in the first half. You don't often sub your defenders, especially a center back, so most likely probably wouldn't have gotten in. But what a great job by him, just really coming in and standing his ground in that center back position.
And he's right on the spot again. Elizondo being called out to by his coach Darren Powell now. They try and keep the ball out of harm's way and protect this 1-0 lead. Sidestepping. Rodriguez couldn't keep it. And it comes down now. And well done by Garcia to take it back.
Good battle there, shoulder to shoulder. Fantastic job on both sides.
And Garcia at times today has not had a great game either. That was good work. Meanwhile, here comes RGV, cut back. Ward fires it. That's up and over.
This RGV team just putting the pressure, forcing the first ball. San Antonio thinks they clear it. Ward there to just clean it up. Gets a good look on frame, gets under it, but doesn't have much time left. I don't blame him for taking that shot. Could have some success from far out, but this RGV team is fighting till the final whistle, and San Antonio's not out of the woods yet.
San Antonio has never won in this South Texas Derby. They have drawn 3 losses for SAFC, and they're trying to get the monkey off their back and take revenge for being held out of the playoffs last year in that 3-0 defeat, the regular season's final game here in the Rio Grande Valley. Matt Cardone, the goalkeeper, said any of the players that were there, it's obviously on the back of your mind. 4 added minutes coming for Rio Grande Valley to try and change the story and the headlines on this first game at HEB Park. Castillo. Kept by Magalhaes. Ward. Player down for San Antonio. They don't have any subs available. He's at the bottom of the screen. And this lifted to Cardone. Plenty of time.
The turf just coming up from the field, but Castillo went down hard on that earlier tackle. Looks to be in a lot of pain there. Not a good sign for San Antonio. That's not something they want to see out of one of their most veteran players.
Colombian who is synonymous with San Antonio soccer for the last half a decade. The trainer working on him. This could put San Antonio down to 10 men in the final couple minutes of stoppage should Castillo be unable to continue. Here's the injury.
Looks like he ran up the back of that RGV player.
Magalhaes, yeah. Castillo's a gamer. He was injured earlier in the game and came back on almost instantly. Had one of the great goals of last season, too, on a free kick. Guy who finds himself all over the field, and remarkably, for a guy who looked like he was in a ton of pain a few minutes ago, he's going to tough it out and try and keep San Antonio from playing down to 10 men in the final minutes.
And I'm always so impressed by some of the most veteran players, how they can play a full 90 minutes plus and even if they're injured, get back up. It's not easy to play soccer as you get older, but I think that is one of the most hidden gems in some of these players is the fact that they can still contribute to their team and play a full game. It's not talked about often, but extremely, extremely impressive.
I couldn't play 90 minutes at 24 at 36. My goodness. Down goes Lucatero. There a little bit of magic left here in this home opener of 2017, the last game of the first match day of the USL season. Kasner the header, and Cardone there to keep that from sneaking into the net. A corner kick coming.
And this game's been a little slow in the past couple of minutes, but what a way to get his team going. Beautiful ball in. Gets up for the header, forces Cardone to make a save, and a corner kick with not much time left. What more could you want when you're searching for a goal?
Could a tying goal come here? Headed backward. Here's Bird. Swerves one in. And now the run out from San Antonio. Not a lot back. Forbes. Still driving the net. A heavy tackle. No whistle. And not many more tries upfield here for RGV. Forbes did well to take a little time off the clock. Bird takes a tumble. And a yellow card shown. There may even be a little more than 4 minutes with that stoppage time injury to Castillo, and now the yellow card. Yellow goes to Chris Tierpak, his first as a member of San Antonio FC. Green. Rio Grande Valley trying to equal out at the death. Magalhaes. Bird tripped up by Tierpak. Advantage played. Bird to the byline. Lifted up to the top of the 18. Time running down for RGV. It's Ward. Plays it left. And here's the service. Headed out. All that injury time for Castillo is coming back to bite San Antonio now because RGV is going to have a chance to get this in, Morgan.
And they just have the momentum. So many great chances in all of this injury time.
Lucatero. Fans on their feet. Service. Knocked out. Opportunity still. McCarthy gets it away. Full time. San Antonio takes 3 points at RGV and spoils the homecoming as Forbes scores in the 15th minute and San Antonio is able to pick up 3 points. What a great finish at HEB Park. Rio Grande Valley saving its best for last, but ultimately Cardone does enough, and San Antonio spoils the HEB Park opening with their first win in the South Texas Derby.
Just too little, too late for the Toros. They really found their momentum in those last 15 minutes, just couldn't put one in the back of the net, but they had all the right ideas.
We look back at the full-time highlights, Morgan, and in the 15th minute, Forbes, what a great pass from Alessandro.
Alessandro just set him up perfectly. Forbes able to put it away and give his team the chance to just lead throughout the rest of this game.
RGV had opportunities in the first half off both set pieces and the run of play. Cardone handling this as Luna involved, setting up Murphy. That was the best chance RGV would get.
Murphy just found so much space, so dangerous. He was in the right spot snipe, but just couldn't connect it to the back of the net.
Bird stopped by Cardone as we're into the second half of play. And this is a game where RGV really did have chances, maybe none better in the latter stages than this off the post by Murphy.
The second half is really when RGV found their footing and was so dangerous. All of their best chances, for the most part, came in this second half.
Luna stopped and injured as well. This is Bird, who had a strong half on the wing. Cardone up to every task today.
Eric Bird was just everywhere for RGV. Once again, they couldn't connect, but the San Antonio team, great defense all around. Their back line, their midfielders, their forwards putting in pressure. Great team effort from San Antonio tonight.
San Antonio in the 15th minute, a 1-0 win over Rio Grande Valley here at HEB Park. Looks just as good under the lights as it does without. So for Roberto Fernandez, Zeba Ponte, Scott Ferguson, Mike Friedman, and Morgan Conklin, our entire team in Texas. Mike Watts saying so long. The goal from Forbes, the perfect start for San Antonio. They get their first win in the South Texas Derby, spoiling the opening of HEB Park. Final score from Edinburgh, Texas. It's San Antonio 1 and Rio Grande Valley 0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League. Rebroadcast or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.